Welcome to another edition of the Tiger Lacrosse Report. I'm your host, Spiro Morekas, along with the head coach of the Tigers, Shawn Nadelen. And coach, the Tigers traveled to Charlottesville to take on Virginia this past Saturday. And game started well with the Tigers going up 4-2, but then Virginia kind of took over from there on out.
Yeah, we came out the way we wanted to. We wanted to come out aggressive. We wanted to come out shooting, challenge them, put them on their heels a little bit. We did that. We were able to kind of go trade some goals with them. Obviously, we don't want to give them goals, but they were able to get a few as well. And then got it to 4-2, and then actually when it was 4-3, from the span of 4-3 to when we had to lead 4-3 to then Virginia made their run and got it to 9-5. We committed 8 turnovers during that span. So that's, that was obviously a big, big piece to allowing them to stretch the lead.
Well, and part of it, I guess, is that they were forcing turnovers. It wasn't just that Towson was being sloppy with the ball. Virginia was being very aggressive.
They were, and we knew that. That's their identity. We've scrimmaged them the past few years, and I've kind of felt the wrath of that ride. And as much as you practice against it and drill it, it's just different when it's in a game. And we had opportunities to break it and be smarter with the ball. We had 2 stops on our man down that we just simply didn't connect on a pass upfield that we easily would have been up and out and in our clear. And then Jake McLean running upfield gets past an attackman and just doesn't protect his stick, and the attackman gets a kind of a desperation wrap check, which we practiced against all week as well. And then they're able to get the ball and get a goal off of it. So we had 3 failed clears in there, and it wasn't it wasn't due to their pressure ride in that instance. They definitely after that point they definitely got us with some pressure ride stuff, but just not taking care of the ball and doing our part there.
Obviously, this is a very talented Virginia team. One of your Johns Hopkins buddies who was broadcasting the game had him number 1 in the country in his poll today. So it's not like the Tigers were playing, the Sisters of the Poor on Saturday afternoon. But there were some positives. Garrett Zangalia, 9 ground balls. He had a tremendous game for you.
He was terrific. And, definitely complimented him on his efforts during the game. He was all over the field. We asked him to do more than what he normally does, just play close defense. We were bumping him up to play long stick midi due to, the absence of not having Mo Silla for the game. So it was great to have, Garrett just take it. And, we track the players in regards to their intensity and distance that they cover. And, he covered over 6 miles during the game, playing, and it showed. Granted, he's, a big individual, so his steps are much larger than yours, Spiro. So for him to cover 6 miles, it is much less, he has to take fewer steps. But
I bet he slept well Saturday night.
Yeah, he was great off the ground, and his voice, everything was on point. And I just feel bad that we didn't rally around that and then play better around him defensively. We were very much out of sorts and disorganized defensively, for a large part of the game.
Now, Shane Brennan, the numbers aren't great, but early on in that ball game, he was making some tremendous saves and gave us a glimpse of what he's capable of.
Absolutely. Shane's a guy that's, due to injury, unfortunately been in and out of, a starting position. And, he's worked his way up from, his freshman year to earning an opportunity to start. And, over the past couple of years had some injuries to battle through. So he hasn't really put a complete season as a starter in the cage yet. So it was good to see him back out there, especially early on, like you said, when he was making some really nice saves and getting his body on the ball. Obviously Virginia is extremely talented, with their offense and shooters, and, they got some high-powered shooters. And then unfortunately defensively, we weren't getting on their hands and we weren't challenging them, when they were shooting. So it was a tall task for Shane, but he stood up to it and then, did his best he could. He knows he's he's got better lacrosse ahead of him, and we do too. You know, and like you said, we saw glimpses of that, and you know, his effort is going to be obviously delivering that on a more consistent basis throughout the entire game.
All right, now this week the Tigers will play at home against St. Joe's, an old conference foe from back in the day. Tell us a little bit about the Hawks and what you expect to see from them come Saturday afternoon.
They got, you know, they've definitely been a team that's risen in the Division I landscape, and you know, that's a huge credit to Coach Ray and you know what he's done there from the ground up. And you know, no doubt they used to be a CAA opponent, so you know, I was, you know, early on in my head coaching career when they were there, so none of our players remember playing those guys or never did. But Coach Ray and I have known each other for a long time. We were teammates and when we played for the Philadelphia Wings together, and he, you know, he's a terrific coach. He's going to have his team tuned up and ready to go, and he's got one of the best face-off guys in the country, and you know, a good cast around him to help out. So those guys are one of the teams that are always pushing to earn the automatic qualifier in their conference every year, and you know, it'll be a tough test for us come Saturday.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, this is their first game, correct?
Correct. Yep.
So advantage to Towson because you have a game under your belt, or do you think that doesn't really make much of a difference?
We hope so. I mean, I think in regards to just, you know, kind of first game, maybe jitters and cleanliness, you know, we hope that, you know, we're able to kind of move past that into now our second game. So having that experience maybe in the game helps us. The only issue is that we don't have any film on them yet this year. They have a game film on us. So, you know, they see our personnel, they see our systems, so they get to prepare, you know, for that this week. But, you know, at this point in the season, you know, it's still going to be a lot of, you know, figuring out in game what teams are trying to do, and make sure if you have to make adjustments, you do it, and kind of personnel and stuff like that. But, you know, again, there's kind of two sides to that.
Now, am I wrong? Nobody played exhibitions this year, correct? For the most part.
I feel like there was maybe a couple teams that had scrimmages. I know, you know, talking to Coach Gallardi up at Stony Brook, they were supposed to scrimmage this past weekend. I'm not sure if that went off or not. But yeah, I know a couple teams maybe we're trying to get scrimmages.
Are practices any different because of the COVID situation, or no?
In regards to like how we're running them, or
Yeah. I mean, do you have to make any changes, or is everything basically the same?
No, we still have to be smart in regards to how close we are with each other, and then for however much time. So on the field, we definitely want our players to still keep, you know, social distancing measures. You know, we're still wearing masks out at practice. You know, and being able to be smart there. You know, when we huddle, it's a very short amount of time, or, you know, or we have them spread out a little bit longer. You know, we're just now getting into kind of where we're supposed to be operating at 100% in regards to the volume and intensity of practice. Like this is the first week that through kind of the buildup phase that was put out in front of us. This is the first week for that. You know, last Saturday, when we played Virginia, was the first date that they were allowing us to actually have a scrimmage and/or game, you know, wherever we decided it. So,
All right, well, Coach, good luck to the Tigers on Saturday, and we will talk to you next week, and hopefully a 500 Tiger team.
sounds good, Spiro.